Hey everyone! So, in the last tutorial we went over creating the transitions in the character blueprint and adding a new state to the anim blueprint to make it look like the character is ledge climbing. And in this tutorial I will show you how we can kind of get rid of all of this and move it into the animation blueprint. Okay, the first thing we need is to actually make the animation blueprint have the required data for a transition. So for that, we'll query the pending transition on our character, split it up, and the first thing we want to do is create a new variable to let the anim blueprint know if we actually have an active transition. We'll call this, let's just say, has transition. We'll set this here. And the next we want to do is to, let's just leave it at that. And now we will take this transition here and replace it with an animation. For that, I'll create a new state. And we'll call this toLedge. And we'll go into that state if we have a transition. And in that state, we'll call, or we'll have the animation to zone, which comes with the adventure kit. Let's take jumping to zone. Okay. We don't want this to loop because this is the jump the character does to the zone, and obviously that just should be done once. Now a little iteration here. Whoop. The jump to zone has two animation notifiers called setTransitionZone, and this logic pretty much builds upon what we have done in the character blueprint. So instead, okay, can't show you that. Instead of having the animation, the blueprint stuff from the last tutorial, we call this notifier, which does pretty much the same in native code. So the first thing we do is after the character jumps a little, we'll call setTransitionZone and only apply the movement mode. We don't want the character to snap to the zone or clear the pending transition yet. And when the character animation is finished, then we want the character to actually snap to the zone and clear the pending transition. So the transition is done at that point. Okay. Let's just show this pin. Now, when the character has a transition, in this case we always assume it will just be a ledge. It goes to this state, jumps to the ledge, and when the animation is finished, we want to enter the ledge climbing state. For this, we'll query the remaining time of our jump animation, and we'll just check if it's equal or less than 0. It shouldn't ever be less than 0, but just to make sure. And if that is the case, we want to transition from this state to ledge climbing. Okay, let's remove this connection here to make sure we just have the one that we just configured. And now we blend in this code, compile that up, make sure it's saved, hit play, and we want to actually see what's going on. So we'll set our character as the debug character so we can see what the state machine is doing. And now, let's just move this a bit out of the way. As soon as we hit the ledge, the character plays the animation, snaps to the ledge, and is in the ledge climbing mode. Now the next thing we want to do is have a jump transition. So currently if we hit jump, the character just never stops moving. So we want to go from ledge climbing to do a jump transition and go back to ledge climbing. This works pretty similar. We'll drag out a new state, call that jump. Or let's call it ledge jump. And we want to enter the state when we have a transition. And let's play an animation called let's jump left. Same as before, uncheck loop. And if you open this this animation, you can see here transition zone is set again, just like the last time. And if the animation is stopped, we want to go back, so we type remaining, get the remaining time, check if it's less or equal to 0, and it should go back. Okay. Save. Do the same thing again. Let me quickly set the debug object. So we have the preview here, and we can see the character jumps over. Oh. Now you can see here the transition is done in the same direction every time. Doesn't matter which direction the character is actually taking. So we want to change that, because we want the character to jump left or right depending on the direction it is going. In order to do that, we go back to the event graph, and as I've told in a previous tutorial, whenever the character goes between zones, it takes one of these arrow transitions, which we can get by using this property. In this case, we want to check which direction the character is going in. So we get this property. First we'll check if it is actually valid, so not to access a possible null pointer. And if it's valid, we'll get the transition direction. If you want to check the transition direction on a zone, or on a transition more likely, you can pretty much select the zone, and then in the details panel, here's the side jump from this ledge to another, and the transition direction in this case is, well, about 0, 1, 0. So we set that to a variable, so we'll promote it, call this variable transition direction, and set it. And now we go back to our ledge jump, take our transition direction, and we want to play a jump left or right animation dependent on the direction's y component. So we'll check if this is less than 0, let's say, and we do a blend depending on a boolean. Now, if the transition, in this case the transition is to the left and it is positive y, in this case the transition is to the right and it's negative y. So if it is negative y, it is to the right. We'll play jump right. And sorry, I forgot. It's right. Right is negative. Okay. So if it's less than 0, it's right. If it's above 0, it's left. Plug those two in. And the last thing is now potentially, so yeah, now if we go right, the right jump will play. If we go left, the left jump will play. In order to traverse from jump back, we have to now get the remaining time of the jump left and jump right. So let's put in jump right here. Do the same check. And since only one transition will play, we can put an OR in here to exit the transition if either left or right has finished playing. Okay, let us see what's going on. The character jumps left, and the character jumps right. Now, a small problem here is that the character currently has these weird jumps back and forth. And that is because each of the animations has root motion, which you can kind of see like being applied here. But the character blueprint doesn't use animation root motion here from usual animations, and we need to change that. So we go in the animation character to the defaults panel and go to root motion from everything. Compile and save that. So now when the character does transitions, the character actually moves with the root motion, as you can see here. Yeah, and that's how you can drive transitions by animations. The really important part is that the animation has these anim notifiers that set the transition zones, this and this, which basically do the same as the blueprint implementation we have done in the previous tutorial. And that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching.